Alright boys, it's Monday. Let's get back to the shit show. JD Link update! You know, when you get the email, you just wait for the phone call. Who needs service advisor when you've got the old Ansel? Alright, starting the morning out, 300G is in G's. Apparently my glow plugs don't want to work, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. I do have a new relay for it, but I'm going to power it on and see what else is going on. Per usual, fucking key's missing. I coded out initially, but as soon as it was about 3 seconds in, pretty much no active faults. So let's go ahead and check the topology here and see what we got going on. All right, so nothing new out of the range there. We got a 641. And then we did have some issues with the glow plugs this morning. 676-14. And again, we also have some issues with the VGT. So let's see if it fires. Wow! It started. And checking just battery voltage right now, 27.6. So at least we know we're good there. So we're going to go and shut it off, and we're going to double check at the relay, see what's going on with the glow plug relay. Might be causing some problems. So power cycling it, we do get the 676-14 to come up. So we're going to, like I said, go farther into the glow plug circuit. All right, so there is your glow plug relay. It's right next to the valve cover. The good thing is connector looks good. Here's a relay. Doesn't hear any jangle, so I think that's good. Let's go ahead and test the field coil. And you see it right there, boys, 210 ohms, which mirrors the new one to the old one. So we're going to check power going over to that connector. All right, so we're going to test for our pin 30, key on. And nothing. All right, so we're testing the F5010 fuse, which is basically your main supply voltage. And womp, womp, womp. So we had system voltage on the supply wire going to the fuse, but of course, again, the fuse being open, gonna have to replace the fuse, start, and see if we can go ahead and get that code to go away. All right, so we're back on our old friend, the 410, and we've got our water valve actuator and our blend door actuator, so let's get to it. All right, out with the old, in with the new, for the blend door, as well as the temperature actuator. So let's go ahead and get it fired up. All right, 146 degree coolant temp, heat's on full blast. We got good solid heat coming out the vents, boys. That's a fix. What it is, boys, but my guys really love to destroy these 410E fucking wiper arms. All right, so new wiper arm, new wiper blade. Let's get her installed. Yay, it works. 352 next gen. Bunch of operator complaints, mostly operational. So we're going to do some pump and motor calibrations and see if we can kind of figure it out for them. So first things first, I want to check and see if there's an issue with the joystick, because a lot of the complaints have been with the right joystick, and everything sweep wise seems to be fine. Contractor life at its best, boys. Just starting to get the damn hydraulic temperature up, and guess what? Gotta go look at the 300D at another site, so let's get to that. No want to start now because she done lost her fucking mind. Just checking at the ECM, we had power on all but one pin. Go to the battery side of the fuse panel, and this is 15 amp fuse here, and nothing. Dead. Confused right now, so confused. Pin 7 can have 0 volts, and this thing will still start and run, and the ECM still communicate. I'm fucking confused. All that 6090 fury. We're gonna call it for the night on the 300D, let them run it tomorrow and see if it codes out again, and we'll start all over and see where our power supply issue is. Well, boys, you've seen the camera. Yeah. Well, boys, we're in a slightly different vehicle now. Yeah, we're forwarding it up now. We got the new service truck. Hope you guys are gonna really enjoy it. We'll do more of a walk around later. Yay. All right, so I wanted to get on here and gripe real quick about the fine people at John Deere. And Cat's also associated in this shit too. Those stupid plastic connectors. Where do they think they actually help anything? I mean, really, where do they actually help any fucking thing? I mean, I understand they're trying to protect them and they allow the harness to be moved in a certain way and position. I've seen more issues out of those little plastic connectors than I have anything else. They're a bitch to get off because, of course, they paint them once they put them on the actual engine or machine itself. I just don't get it. I don't get it any other way. I mean, hell, the backside of the amp seal connector is already sealed. It's already sealed from the elements. You don't have to worry about any fucking thing else. But for some reason, Deere and now Cat's starting to put them fucking things on there as well. They think that it's actually doing something. And I'm sorry to say it's fucking not, except for pissing me off. Have a great day, boys. All right, boys, it's Tuesday. Just remember, it's not the ride, it's the rider. Let's get back to it. Well, boys, today's project will be to get this truck to pass DOT. That means all my little blue lights go back to being legal again. Yay. Having to swap back over to these. Fucking DOT. Well, out with the old. Boom. In with the new. Now I just got to do this 8 more times. Thanks, DOT. Thanks. Let's take a moment. Shine bright, friend. Shine bright. Alright, so all the lights I'm in trouble for have been taken care of. Yay. Boys, Tech Tip Tuesday. So, trailer light wiring, truck light wiring, all this shit right here. The best thing I can tell you to do if you have to use these nasty fucking things is to make sure you cut it after the butt connector. Because I can't tell you how many times in my life I've seen somebody's got 15 fucking butt connectors in a series going all the way back through, and all that does is create more and more resistance as it goes through. It's not a completed circuit in my opinion, but it is what it is. So best course of action there is go far back as you can, cut it so you have fresh copper wire all the way through for your lighting. The more you know. Alright, boys, that's what she weighs. Shit! Alright, so while we wait for some things to go down with the obviously white service truck, we are currently going to be going into, that's right, boys, 2023 F350 6.7 Power Stroke. Come on, look at that right there. It's basically set up for a foreman, but it's got a little retting body on it and stuff like that, so it'll at least appease me for the time being. We can throw some tools in here until we kind of get everything kind of taken care of with the white truck. Alright, so first impressions on the new temporary service truck, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. 6.7 Power Stroke with the 10-speed, pretty goddamn peppy. I know why you Power Stroke boys love these damn 6.7s, aside from the oil pan issues and all the other fun, you know, CP4 problems. Solid platform. But we'll see what happens after all this shit. So on to tomorrow, boys. Alright, boys, it's Wednesday. Let's get back to it. So today we got a little bit of a different plan here. Get this old John Deere unit thrown into that unit right there. Alright, first things first, I gotta get this unit started up. It's been sitting for a minute, so we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, just doing Power Stroke stuff. Ooh, she's rough. I don't know. Yeah, we're actually pretty damn close. I think that'll work. Oh, she's a ripper, boys. She's a ripper. Yeah. Remember, boys, always secure the troubleshooting and diag tools. You know, you gotta make sure everybody's buckled in real nice like. Now we've made the transition from this unit right here. We're obviously into the F350 now, so let's do a quick tour, show you guys how we got it set up. So right in the back here, we've got the old Vevor hose reel. Also, we've got our little extension cord on a reel. We've got this compressor-rator, so it's obviously a generator as well as a compressor. Side compartments, everything we can put in boxes here. We can move, so tap and die set, wrench set, 3/8, 3/4 set. So we've got all of our electric tools up top, DeWalt, Mac, and then up here, obviously, we have all of our air tools. We have abrasive wheels, drill bits, and what have you. Trying to keep this kind of all together hydraulic stuff, so I've got one jack there, and also I've got a jack there as well. Gauges, O-rings, 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 and obviously blue cap kit. Back here is kind of a mixture of just oil filter shit and oil change stuff, pliers, what have you. In here, again, this box is not laid out awesome, but it'll work. Got your fluids and what have you as far as brake clean and lubricants and copper NICs, some miscellaneous parts, hammers, half-inch drives, and this is a real shit show. So this is 3/8, 1/4 inch, wrenches, metric and standard, jumbo wrenches on the bottom, wrenches here, gloves, all sorts of fun shit, pry bars, screwdrivers, picks, everything, towels, rags, all that fun shit, and cribbing blocks. So that's pretty much the layout for now until we get into the cab. That's when it gets real fun. All right, so like I said previously, we've got our diagnostic tools up here. One of my jump boxes, rain gear, welder, welding helmet, some old Slickmans right there, come on, some welding rod, thermal imager, bore scope, multiple scanners. Down here we've got all the long stuff, so pry bar, 3/4 ratchet, hammer, blowgun, and in here is what I could bring, electrical connectors and what have you, and electrical diag stuff is in this bag right here. And also in here is my Deutz kit. On the 6.7 power stroke from this morning that we were having issues with where it was hard starting and what have you, and we'll find out. All right, so we got the old top down out, and we have some issues with cam and crank correlation, synchronization, and idle control, which again, if it's not syncing correctly, this thing's gonna idle like dog shit. Ford no happy. It loses it, gets it, loses it, gets it, loses it, gets it. I'm gonna answer this one time and one time only. So what's the deal? Why we go from the Kenworth to the Ford? Well, if you guys follow along, you guys seen Monday night, we got pulled over, and a lot of issues started with that. Now, we were cited for, obviously, the lights. Everybody out there was making fun of me for the lights. Well, yeah, they eventually did catch up to us, even though essentially we've had all the lights on the truck since about August till about, like I said, up until Monday. And long and short of it, that was an issue. But all in honesty, there was a couple of things. My med card had actually expired literally the end of October, and was actually scheduled for an appointment for Friday for my med card to get up to date on that deal. The whole thing is you get 2 years on those, and I'm sorry to say, unless you like vividly remember when the hell your med cards actually due, you know, you kind of forget. The state of Maryland is pretty much on you when it comes down to your license when it's time to renew, but they're not on you about shit like that. But aside from that, we did have some other issues that need to be addressed for the truck. So the truck, for the time being, is, let's say, in timeout. Had to take all the lights off the truck, obviously. It's having to be re-DOT'd, and some other things are being worked out because of the weight of the truck, hence why we scaled it the other day. And if you guys follow along long enough, you've seen that we have 26,000 pound tags on it. Not knowing the exact gross weight of the truck, well, we did find out when we scaled it that we are over that GVW. So that's going to be taken care of. Well, I can't stop working because a service truck needs some things taken care of legality-wise. So the quickest action is to take a spare truck we have in the yard, turn it into a field truck, and work out of that until we get things squared away with that. So that's literally the ins and outs of it. May have kind of seen some of the comments I've put out about it in reference to it, but this is where we're at with it. And yeah, maybe I should have explained it better, but I really just didn't feel like beating it any more than this. So this is the video. That's what happened, and that's the deal. All right, boys, it's Friday Junior. Let's get back to the dirt. Low tire on a trailer because they gotta move equipment. So let's get to this. Yay. And strobe lights on for safety. Bone dry. Fuck. Filling. Got her all aired up. This big old Hitachi 85. Let's go. 850K, and she's got a lot of play up in that blade. Don't look that bad. Got an old cat bearing in the old John Deere 850K. Now it's time to put her back together, tighten up the ball. Then she'll be like a whole new machine. Yeah, we grease our machines. Like, what the fuck? Half a tube just to get this motherfucker filled? Come on now. I don't know why the top con stopped working. But yeah, that's gotta repair this shit now. Boom, got it all repaired. Didn't have a round plug, but I had a couple of these amp seal plugs here. Just repinned it, and we should be ready to rock and roll. Just gotta secure it. Boys, see that right there? Engine D-rate. Exhaust filter extremely restricted. Got the old Ancel. We're gonna try to force a regen with this one because it won't allow me to do it through the dash display. All right, let's do the service level regen. Boom. All right, hit yes. And there we go. We got her rolling, boys. So here begins my gripe about operators, okay? So here it is, 5 o'clock or whatever the fuck it is, Eastern Standard Time. And we got a 410E that needed to go through regen because these guys just do not allow these machines to go through regen. So I looked at it, it was 175% soot load. Pretty goddamn high. Well, long and short of it, I put it through a service regen, so this thing would go through that. It's a 3-hour plus fucking regen. There's other issues, obviously. But I wanted to get it to burn the soot load down, at least see if it would. Well, long and fucking short of it, you see it's not fucking running. And they moved it. And, you know, operators like, hey, goodbye, you know, Friday night or Thursday night, bye-bye. And now this becomes another fucking problem that I have to look into and get the DPF and regen issues taken care of. So happy fucking Thursday night, boys. All right, boys, you got a pre-game before you go in for your DOT physical. That's right. Let's get this shit done. All right, so the question at hand is, how am I liking the old things first? I actually have a remote start on my fucking service truck. That's a first. First things first, boys, the space. Yeah, not used to having this kind of space in the old K-Whopper. I mean, usually I just got the passenger seat and it's just loaded down full of shit. And, yeah, I actually have space in here now. That's a fucking first. Look at that, boys. Built Ford tough. The infotainment system, though, come on. Yeah. Full-on climate control with this little thingy. Boom, look at that, boys. All lit up in here. I could easily be sold into a full service truck like this. I'll be honest with you. I could easily be sold into one of these, into a service truck. If you guys followed me long enough, you guys do remember that my old International CT 515, again, based on a pickup truck body, was one of my favorite service trucks by far, and I've had a lot of service trucks. So yeah, I can easily be swayed into another pickup truck, if you know what I'm saying.